John Bolton served as the U.S. National Security Advisor from 2018 to 2019 under Trump. He wrote the 2020 book, The Room Where It Happened, which details his time working for the president. We reached him in Washington. Hi, Ambassador Bolton. Great pleasure to welcome you back to the show.
Glad to be with you. Thanks for having me.
On Monday, when we spoke to you prior to the election, you told us that you would bet $1 but no more on Biden winning. Were you hedging your bets because you kind of could see what's playing out?
Well, I thought that there was every risk that, as in 2016, the pollsters and the commentators would be far off again. There was one set of pollsters who were going to be close and accurate, and another set way off. There was no compromise between the two, and it's turned out that once again, what I'll call the mainstream pollsters just got it very badly wrong. So, you know, what I thought on Monday was that I didn't think it would be a landslide by any stretch of the imagination, and we're going to have one way or the other, Trump win or a Biden win. It will be very, very narrow.
And what does that tell you? Just the narrow margin of the win, whoever it goes to.
Well, it's a divided country, and I think it shows real weakness on both parts. I think Trump could have had a larger majority if he had behaved more like a responsible president. I think he scared many traditionally Republican voters away into Joe Biden's camp. But on the other hand, there were a lot of people who didn't particularly like Trump, but weren't going to vote for Biden because they were scared by the left wing of the Democratic Party. So I think when you look now down at the results for the Senate and the House, you can see the continuing strength of the Republican Party, regardless of whether Trump wins or loses. Contrary to almost every estimate, we will have at least 50 seats in the Senate, quite possibly 52, depending on the runoffs in Georgia. And not only are Republicans not going to lose seats in the House of Representatives, as of now, it looks like we'll pick up 5, 6, 7, maybe 8, which puts us in a very good position for 2022. So this has been an election that I think people got badly wrong, at least those who were polling for it or commenting on it, and that'll have an impact going forward.
What do you think the potential impact of the Senate and Congress, the results there? What is the potential impact on if Joe Biden is ultimately determined to be the president on that presidency?
Right. Well, if Republicans hold control of the Senate, it means that all the fantasies of the left wing of the Democratic Party are going to get put on hold. There's not going to be packing of the Supreme Court. There's not going to be amazing new tax increases. We're not going to get the Green New Deal. We're not going to have Medicare for all. I think this will increase the controversy inside the Democratic Party and also, therefore, increase the likelihood that Joe Biden will only have one term. It'll probably have an effect on the way Biden puts his own government together, since he's got to get his top nominees confirmed by the Senate, and that's with Republicans in control, that's not necessarily a sure thing.
I want to also ask you about the situation that's unfolding on the Trump campaign side of things, and that is the challenges that they have launched against the outcome of many of the votes and the claims that they have made, actually, that they won those votes and sort of that the counting of ballots received after the election should stop in certain states. I know that you've talked before, and in our conversation on Monday you did as well, about sort of the systems at play here, the democratic systems in your country, and what does this kind of thing do to those systems?
Well, I don't think anybody can deny that candidate Trump should be allowed to utilize any of the statutory rights he has under the election laws of the 50 states, and obviously particularly those states that are very close. And we're really talking about two different kinds of challenges. He, as you mentioned, has filed a number of lawsuits in the cases of states where their elections are close. Just today, 2 of them have already been dismissed. And that's because you can say, I found an example of election fraud in Wisconsin or in Georgia, or 2 or 3 examples of election fraud. That doesn't mean, even if they're proven, that the entire election is done over. You have to have causality. You have to show it's going to affect the outcome. And obviously, you have to prove the truth of the allegation. This is not politics. You can't go into court and make statements that are not backed up by the evidence. I guess you can go into court and you'll be thrown out very quickly. So I haven't seen anything in any of the cases that have been filed that I've heard reported that should give Biden any cause for concern. There's no evidence of massive fraud. That's why I think the president's comments are irresponsible. But he'll have to give the courts the evidence. If it's there, okay, then the courts will take a look at it. The second issue is a process that goes by different names in different states. Sometimes the same word is used to different processes in different states. A little confusing. But things like recounts or recanvasses or contests of the election. In some cases, we've seen this in Wisconsin already. A request for a recount is automatic if the vote is hypothetically less than 1%. But a recount typically is only just that, just counting the numbers. It doesn't mean looking at all the ballots again. That's why recounts typically don't change the outcome to any substantial degree. It's did the clerks type in the right numbers into the computer, basically is what it comes down to. There are other provisions, contests like we went through in Florida in 2000 in the Bush v. Gore fight, where you do have to do much more and it does get more complicated. We'll see if that happens in any of the cases. We'll see how long it takes. But these are events that nobody should be surprised at in a close election, or that this is the way Donald Trump decides to leave, which is ungracious to say the least.
Separate from the challenges, separate from the recounts, which you're right are, anybody's right for sure. The comments, I guess, and the claims, you've seen the tweets, I'm sure, like the rest of us, that we declare victory in, for example, Pennsylvania, that kind of thing. Should that also come, as no surprise?
Well, I don't think it's a surprise that any candidate says we think we're going to win. I mean, what else are they going to say?
Well, they
really?
said we think we have won. That's what he's saying.
Well, I mean, I think that's with all due respect, a distinction without a difference. But this is normal political expansive rhetoric, and Biden has come very close. Yesterday, he said, well, "I'm not here to declare victory," and then about 4 seconds later, he said, "I think we're going to win." So, that's not really a distinction in my mind. What is offensive from President Trump, and I view as unacceptable, is the argument that he would clearly be winning if it weren't for voter fraud, that in fact he said on election night, we have won and they're trying to steal it away from us. That is irresponsible, especially from a sitting president of the United States. And so now it's his responsibility. If he's got this evidence, he needs to present it in court. I think he will fail in that. But the mere fact he's out there saying it, I think, is very troubling.
Okay, Ambassador, I'll leave it there. I appreciate your time very much.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.